So earlier this week, we sent you a fact sheet that we'd developed exposing the radical sexuality and gender fluidity indoctrination that activists in the Ministry of Education want in as many schools as possible. Well, 5 minutes after sending it out to our 70,000 supporters on our database, we were alerted to some highly offensive material that had been shared in a class of 11 to 12-year-olds. It was so shocking that some of you thought this can't be true. But sadly, it is, and we actually shouldn't be surprised. So have you read this fact sheet yet? You really should. It's on our website, familyfirst.nz. Radical gender theory and sexuality is being indoctrinated into our children as young as 5. For example, they want 7 and 8-year-old kids to be able to identify gender stereotypes, understand the difference between gender and sex, and know that there are diverse gender and sexual identities in society. And most disturbing is that teachers are encouraged by the Ministry of Education to keep a child's gender identity issues secret from mum and dad by allowing the child to adopt a new persona whilst at school, including the use of preferred pronouns. No requirement to inform parents that there are identity issues or gender dysphoria. Now, Family Planning's Navigating the Journey is certainly a key program to avoid. It's saturated with gender ideology, says that sex and gender are not the same thing, although commonly mistaken to be apparently. And you'll see examples of reading material pushing terms such as trans, gender queer, non-binary, gender fluid, gender bigender, third gender, two-spirit. But really disturbing is that there's advice for 11, 12 and 13-year-olds that most STIs are curable. We need to tell our sexual partners about them, where the confidential services are, confidential, and if you're thinking about having sex, how to do it safely. Remember, this is 11, 12 and 13-year-olds. And I've shown you this clip before, but here's the dictionary of the terms that they want to instruct your child with and use in the school setting. All lots of normalization. Well, within 5 minutes of sending out this fact sheet, as I said, we received a note from a mum expressing concern about this handout to a class of 11 and 12-year-olds. Now, look, I apologize for the highly offensive content in this image, but this is what your children and grandchildren are being exposed to. And that's enough of that. But, you know, we thought at the same time as probably you did, surely not. But then we did our homework and we were contacted by another mum from the same school. And then we saw correspondence between parents and the school leaders and with the board of trustees. Now, was this a rogue teacher? Perhaps this material wasn't sanctioned. It would be nice to believe that. But when you look at the curriculum in its fullness, as shown in our fact sheet, you shouldn't be surprised by what you just saw. And that's why we're not naming and shaming this particular school, because sadly, this material could be in your child's school. And then we were contacted by another mother from a completely different school in New Zealand who said that during her 12-year-old maths class, this game was being played on a phone app called Kahoot. This is 12-year-olds during a maths class, the rainbow alphabet. What is this illustrating? Coming out, lesbian, and other topics. What is this all about? Gay, aromatic, gender identity. What is this person representing? Asexual, gender fluid, for example. What is this representing? Intersex, gender affirming surgery. What is this woman representing? And and finally, what is this one? Chosen family, intersectionality, bisexual, transitioning. Did I say it was during a maths class? 11 and 12-year-olds. Different schools. Not a coincidence, not an isolated incident. In fact, we've had many parents share examples. So, is this in your school? Well, we think you should check. The good news is that most schools are rejecting this radical material and the groups that come with it. It's not compulsory for schools yet. But unless you can absolutely guarantee that your school leadership is adopting a first do no harm policy with the sexuality and gender education, that the school respects your role as a parent, is regularly consulting with you and other parents in the school community and showing you the material, and you can guarantee that groups like Family Planning and Rainbow Youth aren't being allowed access to the classroom to push their propaganda, then we recommend withdrawing your child. Hoping for the best is not worth the risk. And to start with, we'd certainly encourage you to read our fact sheet, which we've just released. It's on our website, familyfirst.nz, under fact sheets. Check out what the curriculum is all about. As I said, hoping for the best. It ain't worth the risk. Protect your children.